Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fluent Start English channel. I'm so happy you're here today. In today's episode, we will be discussing how to speak naturally and confidently in English. If you want to sound like a native speaker and enjoy smooth, friendly conversations, then listen until the end, because I will share my best tips, real-life examples, and a small speaking challenge for you to practice. So, let's get started. First, let's talk about what it really means to speak naturally. Speaking naturally is not about speaking fast. It's about sounding relaxed, using the right words, and connecting them smoothly. Even native speakers don't speak perfectly all the time they pause. They use simple words, and sometimes they even repeat themselves. So you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be clear, confident, and friendly. Tip number 1. Use contractions. One of the easiest and most effective ways to make your English sound natural is by using contractions. If you are not familiar with this term, contractions are shortened forms of two words joined together. They are very common in everyday spoken English and help make your speech sound smooth and relaxed instead of stiff or robotic. For example, instead of saying, "I am going," most native speakers say, "I'm going." Here, the words I and am combine to form I'm. This contraction not only shortens the phrase, but also makes it easier and faster to say in conversation. Using the full phrase, "I am going" all the time can make your speech sound very formal or even unnatural in casual situations. Contractions are everywhere in English. Another common example is you are, which becomes you're. So instead of saying you are right, it sounds much more natural to say you're right. When you use contractions like this, your speech starts to flow more like that of a native speaker, making it easier for others to understand you and for you to join in conversations smoothly. There are many common contractions that you should learn and practice. Some examples include he is becomes he's, she is becomes she's, we are becomes we're, they are becomes their, and it is becomes its. These small changes add up and make your English sound much more relaxed. Using contractions is not only about shortening words, it also changes the rhythm and melody of your speech. English is a rhythmic language, and contractions help keep that natural rhythm. When you avoid contractions and say every word fully, your speech can sound slow and choppy, and sometimes it can be hard for others to follow. For example, try saying these two sentences out loud. I'm going to the store. I'm going to the store. You will notice that the second sentence sounds quicker and smoother. This is exactly what contractions do. They help words connect, making your speech flow naturally. However, it's important to know when to use contractions and when not to. In very formal writing or speech, such as academic papers, official letters, or formal presentations, contractions are usually avoided because they make the language too casual. But in everyday conversation, emails to friends, or informal writing, contractions are preferred because they sound friendly and approachable. If you are learning English as a second language, it can be tempting to say every word clearly and fully, especially if you want to be understood perfectly. But remember, using contractions is part of sounding natural. So, don't be afraid to try them out in your daily conversations. Your listeners will appreciate your effort to speak more like a native speaker. A good way to practice contractions is to listen carefully to native speakers. You can watch movies, listen to podcasts, or talk with native speakers, and pay attention to how often they use contractions. You will notice that contractions are used all the time, even in professional settings like news broadcasts or interviews. Another tip is to practice by reading sentences out loud, both with and without contractions. For example, try these pairs. She is happy. She's happy. They are coming soon. They're coming soon. I have been waiting. I've been waiting. This exercise will help you get used to the sound and feel of contractions, making it easier to use them naturally when you speak. It's also helpful to remember that contractions sometimes involve adding an apostrophe, which shows that letters have been left out. For example, do not becomes don't, with the apostrophe replacing the O in not. Similarly, Cannot becomes can't, and will not becomes won't. These small marks are very important in written English to show contractions. Using contractions can also help you sound more friendly and less formal. Imagine if someone always spoke without contractions. Their speech might sound serious, stiff, or even robotic. But when people use contractions, it creates a relaxed and conversational tone that invites others to join in. One final point is that contractions are especially useful in fast conversations. When you're chatting with friends, ordering food, or talking on the phone, contractions help you speak more quickly and naturally. This way, you can keep up with the flow of the conversation without sounding slow or awkward. To sum up, using contractions is a simple but powerful step towards speaking English naturally. They make your speech smoother, friendlier, and easier to understand. Try to practice contractions every day by listening, repeating, and using them in your own sentences. Soon, you will find that speaking English feels more comfortable and your conversations become more enjoyable. Remember, learning to use contractions well is like learning the rhythm of English. So don't worry if it takes some time at first. With regular practice, contractions will become a natural part of your English speech. Tip number 2. Use natural fillers. When you listen to native English speakers, you may notice they often use little words or sounds like, well, actually, or so during their conversations. These words are called fillers. They might seem small and unimportant, but fillers play a big role in making your English sound natural and relaxed. Fillers help speakers pause, think, or emphasize a point without stopping the flow of conversation. For example, when someone says, "Well, I think that's a great idea," the word "well" gives them a moment to organize their thoughts, and it makes their speech sound casual and friendly. If they just stop to think without any filler, it could sound awkward or like they forgot what to say next. Many learners feel unsure about using fillers because they think fillers might be mistakes or that they make speech look weak or unsure. Actually, that's not true. Native speakers use fillers all the time, not because they don't know what to say, but because fillers create a natural rhythm and make conversations sound warm and human. Let's look at some common fillers and how they are used. Well, often used at the beginning of a sentence to introduce an opinion or to buy time. For example, "Well, I'm not sure if that's right." Used to check if the listener understands or agrees. For example, "It was really difficult, used to explain or clarify something you just said. For example, "I didn't like the movie." The story was boring. Actually, used to correct or emphasize something. For example, "I actually like the new song." So, used to start a sentence or to show a result. For example, "So what do you want to do next?" These little words can be very helpful when you speak English. They give you time to think, help connect ideas, and make your speech more engaging. However, it's important not to overuse fillers. If you use too many fillers in a sentence, or too often in a conversation, it can make you sound nervous or unclear. The key is to use fillers naturally and moderately, just like native speakers do. To practice using fillers, try listening carefully to conversations in English. Watch TV shows, movies, or listen to podcasts, and pay attention to where and how native speakers use fillers. You can also write down some examples and practice saying them out loud. Another way to practice is to record yourself speaking. When you talk about a topic, try to include a few fillers naturally where you would pause to think. Then listen to your recording and see if it sounds natural or if you are using too many fillers. Fillers also help in situations when you want to be polite or soft in your opinions. For example, instead of saying, "That's wrong," you could say, "Well, I think that might be a little different." The filler "well" here makes your opinion sound less harsh and more friendly. In addition, fillers help keep the listener interested because they make your speech sound more conversational, not like a formal speech or a memorized text. When you use fillers, your speech sounds like you're talking with a friend, which makes people feel more connected to you. Keep in mind that fillers are often combined with body language, like nodding, smiling, or hand gestures, which makes the conversation even more natural. So, practicing fillers with gestures can help you feel more confident and relaxed when speaking English. To sum up, fillers are small words that make your English sound natural, relaxed, and friendly. Don't be afraid to use them. Listen to native speakers, practice using fillers in your own speech, and soon you will notice your English conversations feel easier and more enjoyable. Tip number 3. Link your words. One of the key secrets to speaking English naturally and fluently is learning how to link your words together. When native speakers talk, they don't pronounce each word separately and clearly as if reading a list. Instead, they connect sounds from one word to the next, which makes their speech flow smoothly and quickly. This is called linking. Linking means blending the ending sound of one word with the beginning sound of the next word. For example, instead of saying each word clearly and separately, a native speaker might say, "What are you doing?" as "what you doing?" This connection helps speech sound natural and easy to listen to. Why is linking so important? Because English is a stress-timed language, which means some words are stressed, said stronger and longer, and others are unstressed, said softer and shorter. Linking helps keep the rhythm of English by smoothly joining unstressed words to the ones around them. Let's look at some common types of linking. Linking consonant to vowel. If a word ends with a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, the sounds connect. For example, pick it up sounds like pick it up with no pause between words. The K sound at the end of pick links directly to the I sound at the start of it. Linking vowel to vowel. When a word ends with a vowel sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, native speakers often add a small W or Y sound to connect them. For example, go on sounds like go one, and I agree sounds like I agree. This little sound helps words flow smoothly. Linking consonant to consonant. If one word ends with the same consonant sound that the next word begins with, the two consonants are pronounced only once. For example, big game sounds like big aim. You don't say the G twice. Intrusion. Sometimes native speakers add an extra sound to link words, even if it isn't in the spelling. For example, I saw it might sound like I saw it. The R sound is added to help link the vowel sounds. Learning these patterns helps your English sound more connected and less choppy. When you speak without linking, your speech can sound slow or robotic because you are pausing too much between words. How can you practice linking? Start by listening carefully to native speakers in movies, TV shows, or podcasts. Notice how they connect words and try to repeat what you hear. You can even slow down videos or audio to catch the linking sounds. Another way to practice is to read sentences aloud while consciously linking words. For example, try these sentences. What are you doing? What ya doing? I want to eat it. I want to eat it. Can you help me? Can you help me? Often sounds like can ya help me. Practice saying these sentences both with and without linking, and notice the difference. The linked versions sound more natural and smooth. Linking also helps your listeners understand you better because it reflects the natural way English is spoken. If you pronounce every word separately, people might find it harder to follow, especially in fast conversations. One tip is to practice with tongue twisters or short dialogues that encourage linking. For example, repeat phrases like pick it up, turn off the light, or give it to me, while focusing on connecting the sounds between words. Remember, linking doesn't mean you should mumble or speak unclearly. The goal is to connect words smoothly but still pronounce the sounds clearly. Clear linking will help you sound natural and fluent without losing clarity. Lastly, don't worry if linking seems difficult at first. It's a skill that takes time and practice to develop. Native speakers grow up hearing linked speech all the time. But as a learner, you can improve quickly by paying attention, practicing out loud, and getting comfortable with connected sounds. To summarize, linking your words is a powerful way to make your English sound natural and fluent. It helps you speak faster, smoother, and more like a native speaker. Start listening for linked speech, practice connecting words, and soon your conversations will flow more easily and confidently. Tip number 4. Listen and copy. One of the best and most natural ways to improve your English speaking skills is simply to listen carefully to native speakers and copy the way they speak. This method is often called listening and repeating, and it is a powerful technique that helps you sound more natural, improve your pronunciation, and learn the rhythm and flow of English. When you listen to native speakers, you are not only hearing the words, but also the way they say those words, their intonation, stress, speed, and even emotions. All these elements make English sound alive and real. By copying these elements, you can improve much faster than by just studying grammar rules or memorizing vocabulary lists. Why does listening and copying work so well? Because language is not just about words. It's about how those words are used in real conversations. When you copy native speakers, you train your brain and mouth to produce the sounds, tones, and patterns that are natural in English. This helps you build speaking habits that sound fluent and confident. To get started, choose materials that interest you. This could be movies, TV shows, podcasts, YouTube videos, or even songs. The key is to listen to things you enjoy because you'll want to come back and listen again and again. Repetition is important in learning. Here's how to practice listening and copying step by step. Listen first without speaking. Play the audio or video and listen carefully. Try to understand the meaning and notice how the speaker says things. Pay attention to their pronunciation, rhythm, and how they link words together. Listen again and repeat. Play a short sentence or phrase. Then pause and repeat it out loud, trying to copy the speaker exactly. Match their speed, intonation, and emotion as closely as possible. This may feel strange or difficult at first, but it gets easier with practice. Record yourself. Use your phone or computer to record your speech. Then listen to your recording and compare it to the original. Notice where you sound different or where your pronunciation could be clearer. Repeat until you feel comfortable. Don't just say the sentence once. Repeat it several times until your speech sounds natural and smooth. Over time, you'll build muscle memory in your mouth and tongue that helps you produce English sounds automatically. Listening and copying is also very useful for learning new vocabulary and expressions. When you hear a new word or phrase used naturally, try to repeat it and use it in your own sentences. This will help you remember and use new language better. Another great tip is to focus on the intonation, that is, the rise and fall of the voice when speaking. Intonation helps show meaning, emotions, and intentions in English. For example, a rising intonation at the end of a sentence often indicates a question. By copying intonation patterns, your English will sound much more natural and engaging. You can also use subtitles or transcripts to help you understand what you hear. Listen first without reading, then listen again while reading the subtitles, and finally try to repeat without looking. This step-by-step approach helps your brain connect the sounds to the words and improves both listening and speaking skills. It's normal to feel self-conscious when you first start copying native speakers, especially if you are not used to hearing yourself speak English. But remember, making mistakes and sounding different at first is part of the learning process. The more you practice, the better and more natural you will sound. Listening and copying also helps you improve your listening skills. The better you understand spoken English, the easier it is to speak well. These two skills, listening and speaking, go hand in hand. To make this practice even more effective, try to find a language partner or join online English conversation groups where you can practice speaking and get feedback. But if you don't have a partner, don't worry, practicing alone by listening and repeating is still very valuable. In summary, listening and copying is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to improve your English speaking. It helps you sound more natural, improves your pronunciation, teaches you rhythm and intonation, and makes learning fun. So, pick something you love to listen to, start repeating out loud, and watch your English improve day by day. Tip number 5. Practice speaking every day. If you want to speak English naturally and confidently, one of the most important things you can do is practice speaking every single day. Like any other skill, speaking English gets better the more you do it. Even a small amount of daily practice can make a big difference over time. Many learners think that they need long study sessions or formal classes to improve. While classes are helpful, The truth is that regular, consistent practice is what really helps you improve your speaking skills. Just 10 or 15 minutes of speaking practice every day is better than one long practice session once a week. Practicing every day helps you build muscle memory. Just like learning to play a musical instrument or a sport, your mouth, tongue, and vocal cords get used to making English sounds. Over time, speaking English feels easier and more natural because your mouth remembers how to form the words without much thinking. You might wonder, but who can I practice with every day? Or, what if I don't have anyone to speak English with? Don't worry. There are many ways to practice speaking on your own or with others. One simple way to practice speaking every day is to talk to yourself in English. It might sound strange at first, but talking to yourself helps you practice forming sentences and expressing ideas without pressure. You can describe what you are doing, talk about your day, or even plan what you will say in future conversations. For example, you could say, "Today, I am going to practice speaking English," or "I like to read books and watch movies." Another way to practice is to read out loud. Choose a book, article, or even song lyrics, and read them loudly. This helps you work on pronunciation and fluency. Reading out loud is also a great way to practice linking words and using natural intonation, which we talked about earlier. If you want to practice with others, try to find a language partner or join an online speaking group. Many websites and apps connect English learners for conversation practice. Speaking with real people gives you feedback and helps you get used to the natural pace and flow of conversations. Don't worry about making mistakes. The goal is to communicate and improve. You can also record yourself speaking about different topics and listen back to see how you sound. This helps you notice areas where you can improve, like pronunciation or grammar. It's also encouraging to hear how much you improve over time. Setting small daily goals can help you stay motivated. For example, decide to practice speaking for 10 minutes every morning, or to learn and say 5 new sentences each day. Consistency is key. Practicing every day, even a little, will help your confidence grow. It's also important to practice different types of speaking. Try to practice both prepared speech, like reading aloud or practicing set sentences, and spontaneous speech, like describing your day or talking about a picture. Both types help you become a more confident speaker. Remember, the goal of daily practice is not to be perfect, but to become comfortable with speaking English. Don't worry if you make mistakes. They are a natural part of learning. Every time you speak, you are improving, even if it doesn't feel perfect. Try to create a positive learning environment for yourself. Find a quiet, comfortable place to practice and use materials that interest you. This will make practicing more enjoyable and less like a chore. Finally, celebrate your progress. Notice the improvements you make each week or month, no matter how small. Speaking English every day is a big achievement, and you should be proud of your efforts. To sum up, practicing speaking every day is one of the best ways to improve your English. Whether you talk to yourself, read aloud, practice with friends, or record your voice, daily practice helps you build confidence, improve pronunciation, and speak more naturally. Make speaking practice a habit, and you will see your English skills grow faster than you ever thought possible. Now, before we finish today's episode, let's take a moment to practice speaking together. I want to help you put today's tips into action right now. So, here's a small speaking exercise for you. I will say a sentence slowly and clearly, and I want you to repeat it after me. Don't worry if it feels a little difficult at first. Just do your best and have fun with it. Are you ready? Here's the first sentence. I'm learning English and I'm getting better every day. Now, say it out loud with me. I'm learning English and I'm getting better every day. Great job. Keep that energy going. Let's try another one. Speaking naturally helps me feel more confident. Say it with me. Speaking naturally helps me feel more confident. Awesome. You're doing really well. Practicing sentences like these out loud helps your mouth get used to English sounds and builds your confidence. Try saying them in different situations during your day, like when you look in the mirror or talk to a friend. Before we wrap up, here's a special speaking challenge for you to try today. In your conversations, whether with friends, family, or even yourself, aim to use at least 3 contractions and 2 natural fillers. For example, instead of saying, "I am not sure," try saying, "I'm not sure," And to make your speech sound even more natural, add fillers like, well, I'm not sure, you know? This little challenge will help you get comfortable using the tips we talked about today and make your English sound friendlier and more fluent. All right, my wonderful friends. That's all for today's episode of Fluent Start English. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you found it helpful and fun. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss a new lesson. Also, share it with a friend who's learning English too, because learning is better when we do it together. Remember, the key to success is to practice every day. Stay confident and keep speaking with a smile. Soon, you'll be amazed at how naturally your English flows. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Until then, keep practicing, stay positive, and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.